Here we go. I'm going to start to do it. Yes, here we go. Officially, we have begun. Put your questions in chat, and I'm going to stick around and answer any questions you want to ask at the end. And about the seminar, or about pretty much anything in stand-up, or getting into stand-up, or anything else you want. I'm just going to make myself available for answering your questions, and my staff will be there as well. So what students are saying about saying, so here's some some people's is these are pretty advanced. If you were in LA, you'd see these guys, most of these guys, very active. A lot of them are now headliners. So anyway, here we go.
Who's Greg Dean? Someone told me there was free donuts and coffee. I was actually on the way to my other gig, so I Okay, just jokes. Greg Dean.
Good, have a seat.
The number one important thing about comedy is your relationship with the audience. And that has helped me tremendously in improving as a comedian and as a person. And I think that I think it's changed my life, my whole way of thinking, taking this class. And so it's been quite a journey, and happy to be on it.
A lot of times you'll see comedians get up there and just talk. And they might have funny material, but they're not connecting to the audience. And it makes a huge difference. And with your structure, I mean, I can tell funny stories, but if I don't structure it right, it doesn't get the laugh that you need from an audience that pays to see you as opposed to your friends.
But the number one thing that I think Greg and Gayla have taught me is that I can do this, and I can be successful at doing this, and they've given me a lot of confidence.
And I look at comedians like your Eddie Murphys, your Robin Williams, and that's my type of personality. And I always wonder, like, how do they do what they do? And it's the structure.
There are a couple of great things about taking this class. One is you get a system that's plug and play, and if you're stuck in traffic, you can take whatever's annoying you and put it through there and turn shit into fertilizer.
I love the fact that he didn't try to instill in you how to be funny. If you were funny, great. If you weren't, some of us have learned what that's like.
His techniques have helped me to see, more about who I am as a person in this world.
You actually really care about us, which is surprising, because nobody in LA ever cares about their students.
He's taught me already that having a chemical and cultural imbalance may not be restrictive in terms of being a stand-up comic, and I hope he's right.
I always believed that most stand-up comedians aren't funny. And I took Greg's class, and because of the structure, now I can actually explain to someone why they're not funny. Thank you, Greg.
Matt, yes, he makes me laugh every time I see that. Anyway, so those are some of the students and stuff here. Gayla, take over.
Okay, I'm Gayla Johnson, one of the comics and senior teacher here at Greg Dean's Comedy Workshop. This is a free webinar all about building a routine, live online classes. So congratulations, you made it here. Like we mentioned earlier, there's a lot more reservations and people are not here yet, or they're coming, or they found a reason not to pursue this, or they, it's a challenge. You guys have done half the battle. You showed up. Congratulations. That's why we say congratulations. You made it here. So we're looking up to you now. Building a routine tonight, you'll understand a few things, like understanding the skills needed to create a routine. Those are skills. It's not just a bunch of ideas you have. It's actually skills that we will help you to understand that to create an actual routine in stand-up comedy. It involves joke structure, so you can write funny jokes. It involves improving your material. This might be material you've already had or material you've thought about writing. Things you have in your back of your mind or something, improving those ideas to tell funny stories. Telling funny stories is kind of what a lot of comics are doing now. They're not doing so much one-liners, they're telling funny stories. How to organize your routine. You want to organize routines. Building a routine, improving a routine, and organizing routines are separate steps. We understand those steps. We can help you overcome stage fright. Now, that's a lot of what goes on when you first start out doing stand-up comedy. There's like stage fright. What do I do if they don't like me? We help you overcome that because there's a lot of ups and downs there, but can actually improve and give you more confidence. Connecting with the audience. Connecting with the audience is vital in your stand-up since the audience is responsible for your career, the success, and being more confident. That's if you had all these other things lined up, that would result in being more confident. I will give you some hints on building confidence. So for your information, you're welcome to sign up anytime during this webinar. I mean, the link is in the chat. This is the link, stand-upcomedy.com. /class. You guys may have known of Greg Dean before this and you've recognized who he is and everything. So you might just want to go ahead and register. If you're going to do this. We have seats are open now to register for the class. So you don't have to wait to the end. You can sign up anytime, just so you know. Well, let's see who the hashtag $! Is Greg Dean. Let's talk about that. This guy is mostly known for his book that's out there. It's a green book called Step by Step to Stand-Up Comedy. It's in paperback, ebook, audiobook. It's on the shelves, Barnes and Nobles. It was on the shelves at Borders. You can get it on Amazon. It's a very popular book that a lot of people buy it in different languages. Here it's translated in Chinese. It's translated in Indonesian. It's coming soon to be translated into Spanish. It doesn't matter what the culture, joke structure is joke structure, and the fundamentals are the same. So we're translating this book all over and going across the world. Greg's a regular comedian. He's on the wall at the world famous Comedy Store in Hollywood. This is the Wall of Fame, along with Robin Williams and Eddie Murphy and all of these famous comedians. Greg is there as well. This is, you can go by and see that. It's right on Sunset. It's the Comedy Store Wall of Fame where he's performed with Robin Williams and Whoopi Goldberg and a lot of the great comedians that come out of that room. Aaron, I see smoke. Are you burning up? No, I'm vaping. So yeah, Greg Dean, Comedy Store Wall of Fame. Here we go. He's been teaching stand-up comedy for a while, since 1982. His classes are huge. The beginning 101 and the 201. Greg started teaching stand-up comedy before anybody started ever teaching stand-up comedy. It's because Greg started teaching because he devoted his life to understanding the skills of joke writing, joke structure, and joke performing. That a lot of people that came after him to teach stand-up comedy used bits and pieces of his techniques in order to teach because nobody ever knew how to articulate the step-by-step processes to understanding joke structure. So Greg started the industry of teaching stand-up comedy back in 1982. He was the first one ever to teach, what is a joke and how a joke works and how to understand joke writing and how to expand it from there. So ladies and gentlemen, if you can put your hands together and please welcome back to the stage, the professor of stand-up comedy, Mr. Greg Dean himself.
Thank you. Thank you. Kevin, thank you for that false applause. Thank you. I appreciate that. That was good. That was, next time, can you make it louder and longer? All right. Can you beam me up, Scotty? All right, so. All right, I'm back. Okay, so I didn't expect that. You have a whole program there of stuff. You take requests. All right. Anyway, kind of a quick little introduction of everything here and stuff. In 1982, there were no fundamentals, like Gayla was saying, that when I started teaching, there was the only book that was out there was a book on writing for radio from 1930s and 40s radio. for Bob Hope and all those people, Milton Berle and stuff. It was a good book if you wanted to write radio, actually. And so there were no fundamentals. So I had to kind of like try to, well, what am I going to teach, and start teaching. Mostly I was teaching acting skills and some writing stuff. And then I started going, well, what are some of the fundamentals? What are they? The techniques, the principles, the mechanism, what are they? So I had to develop a system for finding them. And this is what I did, was developing this. My job became to identify a technique or a principle or a mechanism and stuff. Here, let's just say a technique. For instance, when you're doing crowd work, one of the things you can notice that comedians do is they'll purposefully, let's say, misunderstand what the people are saying to them. Once I was at Comedy Store, and there's a couple, are you two together as a couple? And the guy said, more or less. And I looked at the girl and said, he just said you're moralless. And then took it from there, and then she's, what? He said, what? Because if you can't break up a couple, what's the point of doing comedy? If you can't, create some chaos. And so that was the technique. I was using it on purpose. Purposely, I knew he said more or less. I purposely meant. So that's a technique. Okay. And so that's been my job, to identify those. Lots of them. There's hundreds, thousands of these techniques and processes and mechanisms. Next is then for my job is then to create an exercise. So that you can practice it. The students can practice this technique. And I did that in my classes where we paired off and people would practice misunderstanding each other. And so then if you practice it enough, you then develop it as a skill that you can do. The point of the skill is that you can do it. It's the difference between knowing what writing unicycle is and the techniques for writing unicycle, then practicing it and being able to ride the unicycle. And there's only one way to learn how to ride a unicycle, is to get up and fall down. So it's very much like stand up that way. And the job of a coach like all of us here is, when you fall down, hurt yourself or whatever, to encourage you, get back up, help you. And we do so much of the stuff, much of our exercise, we do actually in class. In other words, we're not just saying, here's an exercise, go away. We're doing it with you in class. You can go, I don't understand, or we help you, or we, give you an adjustment or something like that. Or if you get stuck, we help you and ask questions and lead you along. So you're actually doing these exercises in class to develop the skills. Okay. A lot of it's with us. Doing it and all. We create a safe environment here. I've created a thing called solution feedback, which is kind of the short version of it. If you can't make something better or fix it or offer an improvement in some way, don't talk. It's pretty much what it is. We don't want the criticism. It doesn't help anybody. It just makes people defensive. Can you offer a fix? Can you offer something, for them to improve what they're working on? If you can't, then don't participate in that part of it. I've do that. My staff all has to do that. We all have to do that. And that sets us apart from other teachers who do other things. I don't really understand. Some of them, I've even known them to, I get everybody's ex-students here in Southern California. Some of them yell at students and stuff. It's like, what are you doing? Anyway. So fixes, anytime we offer a fixes or an improvement in some way with a technique, we'll explain it to you. Our job isn't just to do it, is go, oh, here, do this, it's better. We'll help you fix it. And then along the way, explain to you exactly how and what's the technique behind it, so that then after that, it's fixed and you understand how it got fixed and the technique that's behind it. It's not just, we don't do the opinion kind of thing. Well, I like it better that way. No, it's not about our opinion. That's why we do it technique oriented. There's a reason for it. And we explain that reason for it. You can choose to use it or not use it, yet we'll still explain the reason for it, so that you'll understand that the fix has some technique behind it or a principle behind it that you're going to follow and learn. So, open mics used to be the only way to train. That's the way I came up. That's all there was open mics, open mics and shows you could do and things like that. And trust me, you can't learn all that you need to learn in just the open mics. There's just so many downsides. It's good and it's bad, but you know, we also help people with how to enter the open mics. There's things you shouldn't do with the open mics because they can actually create some problems and stuff. So Kev, why don't you take this?
Yeah, you know, why should you take a class instead of doing open mics? Well, the short answer to that is open mics are the school of hard knocks. The only shortcut in anything you do is to learn the fundamentals. It's the only shortcut. So we have the fundamentals, we've identified them, we've created exercises, and we help you through that. Our goal is for you to perform at 5+ laps per minute. That's the working commodity. If you get 5 laps or more per minute, you'll be able to work if you have at least 30 minutes. We're going to give you a safe place to be bad. There's a lot of experimentation that happens in our class, and this is a good place to experiment and feel safe with that. We give you support on and off stage through our stand-up comedy community, including our Facebook and our Slack community. And you have an opportunity to collaborate with experienced comedians. Many times, the people that you meet in our classes become your writing partners for life. One of the things that really sucks about open mics is developing bad performing habits. There are a lot of bad habits at open mics that everybody starts doing. Let me give you one example. That's my time. Go to an open mic, see how many people end their show with "that's my time." You don't need to end with "that's my time." You can say goodnight. Greg's students move past the open mic phase. They get booked in real good comedy rooms. You can't get from the open mics what Greg can give you in 40 years of performing and teaching experience. Save 4 to 6 years of development time. I'm going to go out on a limb and say save 5 years of development time. All right. And don't forget, you can sign up at any time. I put the link into the chat. I'm going to drop it in one more time right now, just so it's there. And don't forget to use the discount code Greg50 off. And you should just be glad that Greg's name's not Jack.
I think that's back to me then, isn't it? All right, let me get back on screen. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think if my name was Jack, I don't think we'd have chose that particular phrase. Do you? I don't think we would have. So, understanding joke structure. This is where I really excel. This is where my work really became the most interesting. Was that before when I taught, the only fundamental that was kind of out there was called a 2-list system for writing jokes. I'll tell it to you right now. It's you pick a subject like hospitals and you make an association list of those things. And then you gave it a trait like torture and you made an association list of torture. And step 3 was write jokes. Now, that was the joke writing system. Well, literally, that's it. There's still teachers that teach it. And teachers I taught it to now teach it and stuff. So, and what I discovered was about half the students like myself could take that and write a lot of jokes. When I discovered it, I went, well, this is great. But I had like a model in my head of what a joke was. So I'd write a lot of jokes. 50% of my students wrote a lot of jokes like I did. And then 50% of them went, I have no idea what you want me to do. I go, well, write a joke. They go, I don't know what a joke is. And I was like, what? Then that hit me. I kind of went, oh, wow. Well, if I'm going to teach joke writing, I have to know what a joke is. Oh, man, that took 20 years. 15, 20 years for me to figure out what a joke was, that they actually have structure. And I joined the ISHS, International Society of Humor Studies, which is like 5,000 PhDs all over the world, and me. And when I went to their conferences and I showed them my joke structure, and then I taught them to write a joke in less than 5 minutes, and they kind of freaked out because all of their stuff is academics. It's great stuff, but it's for academics. It's academics building on academics. So it wasn't utilitarian. It wasn't useful. Useful for me because I understood what they were doing, but for the general public, it's just that didn't do anything. So now they hire me to go to their universities and teach joke writing because they can't. So I get a lot of work that way and stuff. It's kind of fun to go to major universities and stuff. So understanding joke structure, it's interesting. When I say joke, I'm referring to a single unit of humor where we laugh at humor, not tickling and nervousness and things like that. Humor. And so the word joke, it's a single unit. I don't care. It's going to be a one-liner. It can be in a story. It can be in a poem. It can be in a cartoon. It can be in a sketch. Once you understand the fundamental joke structure, the things that are required to make a joke, and there are requirements that make a joke, I call that a joke, and it's universal. It transcends language and culture. And once you understand, it's very powerful. One of the things that just to teach you right now is that it has two parts. All jokes have two parts. Doesn't matter if they're in a story or a cartoon or anything. There's always two parts. Like with satire, you have to know what's being satirized. You know, if you don't, Alec Baldwin on Saturday Night Live doing an impression of Trump. If you don't know who Trump is and what he looks like and how he behaves, then you don't understand the satire. It's got two parts. It references the real life Trump. So you always have two parts, and there's three mechanisms that connect those two parts, and that's the requirement, is the connection between those two parts. So first of all, setup and punch are not joke structure. All over the internet, people say, oh, Miss Chichi, joke structure, setup and punch. It's not joke structure. I'm sorry, it's just not. It's the way we present one-liners. It's just the presentation form. It's like going to, now, there's other ways that we present humor, like I was saying before, like sketches and cartoons and poems and songs. And there's all that. Setup and punch is just how we express one-liners. It's kind of like going to a music conservatory and saying, I want to learn the fundamentals of music. And in your first class, they say, okay, here's the fundamentals. Here's music structure, song, orchestra, opera. Wait, those are just ways of expressing music, right? Well, it's the same thing with setup and punch. It's not a fundamental that way. I mean, it's a fundamental part of joke writing and things like that for one-liners, but it's the way we express one-liners. It's not, people don't buy into teachers teaching you, oh, it's just joke structure. It's not. It has nothing to do with joke structure. It's just one way, one format for presentation, like song and orchestra. Opera is just one of the many ways that we present humor. So once you understand joke structure, and we'll spend a good time on practicing joke structure and going over joke structure over and over and over with it. Once you really get it, you can identify a joke, and that's huge. I go open mics or even some shows, certain shows around town here in Southern California, and a lot of people don't know what a joke is. So it was at a club the other night where Gayla was headlining, and there was one woman did 10 minutes, and he had a single joke in it. She didn't know where her jokes is. She wouldn't know what a joke was. She talked for 10 minutes and did one joke, and she got a laugh. It was a great audience, by the way. They were really into it. This woman could talk for 10 minutes without getting any laughs at all, except for one. And so she doesn't know what a joke is. So how is she going to write them? And that's really important. I'd be able to identify what a joke is. Next is, once you can identify it, you know the structure, you can fix jokes. If the first part is expected and the second part is really unexpected, to me, those fundamentals are strong, and you should be able to form that into a good laugh. And I do all the time. And then once my students understand it, they can fix their jokes because they understand the mechanisms and what's missing or what's off kilter and adjust it. Most other teachers just basically go, it didn't get a laugh, throw it out, edit it. Yeah, I don't do that. I look at the joke first, because a lot of those jokes are really good ideas, and they're near misses, and all we got to do is straighten out the near and the miss, and we get, and we can actually turn it into a really good joke. And the third thing, once you want to be able to understand joke structure, you can write jokes at will. I know this is a big brag, but it's true. I can teach you to write a joke in 5 minutes. It's not, once you understand how jokes work, it's not hard to write a joke. It's hard writing great jokes and great routine, putting them together into great routines and extended. That's really hard. And it's a lot of work, but actually just the fundamentals of learning how to write a joke is not that difficult. It's something that I've been teaching for 40 years. And that's when I went to the World Humor Conference and taught them how to write jokes. They were like, wow, You taught us to write jokes in like just minutes. So they were just blown away by that thought, by that action. I had anyway, it's just to know that that's possible, and it's just one of the things that we offer. That we're going to teach you 5 different ways of generating material, but I'll cover that in a minute. Joke writing, the actual writing of jokes. You can wait for a bolt of lightning, or you can sit down anytime you want and just start writing jokes with a system. One of them is my joke prospector. It's called the Joke Prospector, and it's got 2 parts. One where we teach you how to write setups, and the other one where we then take those setups and teach you how to write punches. It's the only system in the world that literally takes you from zero, from nothing, teach you how to pick a topic, and then through the whole system end up with a completed joke, or a series of completed jokes, actually, to build a whole routine is what it was built for. But it's the only system in the world that actually takes you from nothing. The 2-list system, again, doesn't really teach you how to write a joke. If you already know how to write a joke, it's really useful. But that's what I discovered is a lot of people didn't know how to write a joke, didn't even know what a joke was. So I had to teach them what a joke was and then teach them how to write jokes. The other way is learning funny stories, telling funny stories. This is big. That's part of joke writing, is learning that there's a lot behind telling funny stories. There's a lot more tools that you need to know. One-liners, you just say the joke, but with stories, there's character. Anyway, we'll go over that in a minute. Another way to write jokes is rant to routine. Get up and rant on a premise. You rant it out and then use that as a foundation for a whole routine. Learning how to write one-liners is really good. Making observations. In other words, observation jokes already exist in the real world. Our job as comedians is to grab those 2 parts out there, put them together as a joke, and then present it. Observation jokes we already know those 2 parts. We just never put them together. So that's what observation jokes are, and more. It's just we teach you all these different ways of learning how to write jokes. Here's Armando Anto. He's actually French. He's a world-class violinist, and decided he wanted to stop doing that mostly and become a comedian. So anyway, he really learned joke structure. There's 3 or 4 really good laughs here that he came in not knowing what a joke was or even how to do it. He wasn't even particularly funny, but he took the structure and understood it and took the techniques. And as a violinist, understood the importance of technique and the importance of discipline and stuff. So here's him doing his.
I'm going to play a sad love song. And it means my love for you is eternal. I can actually be serious. That's I don't know what the fuck I'm saying! I can play something more American.
You see, he sets people up with the love song, and then he does that screaming and yelling. A good strong joke. Oop, let me put myself back. It's a good strong joke. It just gets a huge laugh because nobody's expecting it from him. Him being Persian and everything. And the yeehaw that he does in the middle of that whole thing. That was a joke I gave him because looking at him, that's the last thing you expect is for him to do an American country western yeehaw. Okay, so that's like a character on his joke, a joke on his character. Anyway, we'll point out some of these as we go along. But he became a headliner. He's a paid headliner in 1 year and 3 months. And people said to him, well, "How did you do that?" 1, he's disciplined. And 2, he just said to them, "I just did everything that Greg taught me to do. I got in and worked on all those techniques and wrote jokes every day and put together writing groups. And then when I did a class on how to get work, a weekend class, he then took all those things and did all those steps and did all the things I suggested. And he got the results I told him he would. And I've done that with many people. Not quite as quickly as he did it, but many, many people. So the thing is that we're kind of a trade school. We teach you these fundamentals, and then in our advanced class, then you work on developing longer shows, and you're after that 30 minutes worth of material. You get 30 minutes worth of material, you're employable. That's when everybody, including club owners, take you seriously and will look at your work to see if they want to hire you. And then we teach you how to go out and get the work and everything. So it's all a big, long process. We're like a trade school in that way. So don't come back. Okay, thanks. Improving jokes. That's improving jokes. We talked about that a little. That there's many good reasons that jokes don't get laughs. There's a lot of things that get in the way. Jokes need to be. Jokes are a specialized form of communication. They're like a haiku in poetry. You can't turn in a limerick for a haiku or a sonnet. It is what it is. There's certain structures that require a joke. First of all, the two parts, and then how you connect those two parts. That's what creates a joke. Is the connection of the two parts. Those are the mechanisms, and once you understand them, you can start to really improve jokes. You identify what a joke is. We talked about there, rewriting them concisely. Man, that's big, because here's another real deep fundamental that I teach is for an audience to get a joke. Anybody to get a joke. Okay, a lot of people think, oh, it's this thing that you write or this thing you say. No, for an audience, it's a whole experience of getting a joke. And it's a mental process of it coming in, and what do we do with it? And we get this conflict between the two parts, and how do we resolve that incongruity, and et cetera, et cetera. And I've laid out the 25 steps I believe the mind goes through in order to start at nothing, hear a setup and a punch, or the first two parts of a joke, and process it and then laugh. I've seen this in person. I've watched jokes go through 4 different hemispheres of the brain. It takes 4 different hemispheres. It jumps around, and the different parts of your brain light up just to hear a joke, get a joke, and understand it. Really remarkable. It's a mental process. So if you add a bunch of crap in those jokes, instead of writing them concisely, you slow down that processing, or you kill it altogether. So you can take a perfectly good joke.
We craft the essence of nature into authentic fragrances, preserving.
Who was that?
Gayla, that was Gayla.
Oh, okay. Gayla, why don't you just stay here? All right, good. All right, rewrite concisely. Eliminate comics cliches. They're written badly all the time, too. It's, my wife was, or my husband was so fat. How fat was he? Those are cliche. You don't want to write in old cliches like that. You want to write in your own personal voice. Instead of the old hacky way of presenting them. Exploring jokes as a scene. Once you understand a joke, inside of a joke is a whole little world. Then a lot of different things, but you can write a lot of more jokes about that idea, because now you're treating the joke as like a sensory world rather than just a line of dialogue. And that is one of the things we'll teach you as well. And also you apply comedy grammar. That's something I have invented, comedy grammar, and laid out. There's like 6 guidelines for writing setups and 6 guidelines for writing punches to make them where the processing happens quicker. Those 25 steps that you go through in your mind, they happen almost so fast, can be just almost instant. Then again, there's obstacles. If you write jokes wrong, you have to stop and figure certain things out, and then that processing slows down. You don't want the audience to ever have to think. You want them to instantly respond, just pop. And that's why they call it a punch. If they instantly respond and can instantly go through that process, because the mind is this amazing thing that can do that, boom, there's a possibility of getting a big laugh right then and there. Otherwise, if they have to do a lot of thinking, that energy ends up going away, and then they kind of go, that was clever. Not the response I want. I want the audience to respond instantly, and I like to watch their forehead bang on the table. That's my favorite kind of a laugh, where they actually upset their own drinks. So Creating strong premises. This is so very important. No other teachers, a lot of teachers don't teach this because they just don't really know what a premise is. And I've spent a lot of work on this to understand, but it's like just in the dictionary, it's a statement from which you develop a further argument. That's what a premise is. Okay. In comedy, that further argument are the jokes. You state your premise, and then all of your jokes are examples of trying to prove that premise. Very simple ones and stuff. So the routine starts with the premise. You state it. It's your message. Okay, it keeps the routine on track. It tells the audience, oh, this is what I'm going to talk about for the next few minutes. And also it helps you establish your comic voice because you always know what your message is. Every single time you're doing a bit or a routine or telling a story, you know what one-liners. If you're just doing a series of one-liners, you don't need the premise. Okay, but if you're telling stories, making observations, extending ideas, doing a lot of other things that people do to create, start it with an observation and extend it into other contexts and stuff like that. Tell stories and stuff. Premises are really helpful. Here's Peter Kay. Don't know if you know him. He's a very funny British comedian. Been watching him for quite a long time. He starts with a premise. And then he gets laughs based on that premise. And the premise, well, just, notice the premise is about not knowing the words of a song until you actually do karaoke. Then you learn the real words. That's the premise. And then, watch him.
You all know about karaoke. When you're singing on a karaoke, you haven't got a clue that those were words. I was singing Take That, Back for Good. Wash your back, wash your back, wash your back. Want your back? What's this? Want your back? I've been singing Wash Your Back 15 years. It's only when you go on a karaoke and you see lyrics, that's what they're supposed to be singing. You know that song, We Are Family? For years I thought they were singing, Just Let Me Staple the Vicar. Right? Who's right and who's wrong here? Listen.
All of the people around us, they say, can they be that close? Just let me staple the vicar.
That's what they sing. Just let me staple the vicar. What's all that about?
Just let me staple the vicar.
That makes me laugh every time I see it. He's so funny. And this routine, by the way, goes on for a very long time. He does like 8 different songs. And once he sets up the premise, we know what he's going to do, and he just keeps showing us different songs where we kept singing it, but we didn't. It's like, people always say it's In the Gata de Vida, that song. That's really In the Garden of Eden. If anybody didn't know that, that's what the lyrics are. With Just Let Me Staple the Vicar, it's just let me state for the record. That's what they're singing. And he's right. It sounds like Just Let Me Staple the Vicar. So he finds the joke in that. And now once he sets his premise, he does that. He does it once he says, here's a song, here's a song, here's a song, here's a song, here's a song. He just does it. I mean, it's like a 10-minute bit based on one premise, and we know exactly what he's going to do and et cetera, et cetera. So that helps the audience. They're clear about what's going on instead of just jokes coming out of nowhere and stuff. So premises are really important. We'll work with we spend a lot of time on premises, making sure you know how to write them and work with them. So developing material overall, you learn to play with others. When several funny people get together and work on your show, we can write so many more jokes because everybody has a different perspective. Everybody has a different background. So we look at that same idea, and everybody has different jokes. So we teach you to write in groups. Learn how to collaborate. That's part of the solution feedback is pitch jokes, pitch things that are useful. Pitching sessions, learning, getting up and doing the act outs and finding more jokes by exploring the world of that joke, and more. We're teaching you 5 different ways of generating material. Some of them are sitting down with writing with pen and paper, and some of them are getting up and acting things out. Some of them are working collaboratively. We teach you a lot of different ways to develop material because it doesn't have to start, you don't have to start out with a perfect routine. You start out with an idea and learn how to develop it into a routine. Okay. And that's part of it. That's why this seminar is here to say that's what we teach. We're going to teach you how to go from nothing and develop a routine, not just develop a routine, but know how you develop, how you came up with the jokes, how you rewrote the jokes, how you put it together, how you stage it. And at the end, we'll talk about that in a little bit more. So Kev, take this one as well.
You got it. So what sets us apart, the big thing that sets us apart is we teach hard techniques, real techniques. We don't give you our opinion because we don't know what's funny. We don't know what's going to be funny between you and an audience. We don't know the audience. We don't know where it is, when it is, and that kind of stuff. Our teachers are all certified in the Greg Dean system. We've been working really hard to be on top of the material, just like Greg. We have a proven step-by-step technique. It is step-by-step. You can literally write jokes in 5 minutes by just following the steps. We give solution feedback, no criticism. We just want to try to help. And we have no censorship except clear and present danger. And that just basically means you can't yell fire in a movie house, but you can yell movie in a firehouse. Something like that. All right, and so we're going to build this. It's Building the Routine 101. It's a 5-week class. Each week builds on the class before. That's what those red arrows mean. We're going to start off. We're going to teach you about joke structure and joke writing, the 4 principles, and we're going to get into premises and ranting. Now, our assignments are we require 10 minutes a day. Now, it's 10 minutes a day, every day, not 60 minutes on one day. It's 10 minutes a day because we're trying to get your subconscious to have a new way of thinking. Class 2, we're going to take those premises and rants and we're going to review the assignment. We're going to do more joke writing, and then we're going to go to telling funny stories. A lot of times people say, I don't want to write a one-liner. I tell stories. Doesn't matter if you tell stories, it still should be funny. You should still be getting 5 laughs a minute, and we help you do that. From telling funny stories, we start building into storytelling and the rehearsal process. We have a fabulous rehearsal process that helps you both create material and remember it in pictures, sounds, and feelings. Class 4, we rewrite your routine, we rehearse your routine, we perform your routine. And again, 10 minutes a day is all we're asking. By class 5, we're going to rewrite, give solution feedback, and rehearse the routine again. And we're going to have you perform your routine. It'll be a 1-minute routine. Now, people say, oh, I thought if I take your class, I could have 20 minutes. You can't have 20 minutes in 5 weeks. But if you can write 1 minute with 5 laughs per minute, you can write 3 minutes with 5 laughs per minute. That's the beauty. We teach you what we call teacher independent learning. You can do this on your own, but we also have the support system for you. And now is your time. You can turn your dreams into reality. There's nothing more noble than making people laugh and feel good. Don't forget the code 50Greg off, and I'll put the link in chat here in just a moment.
And it comes back to me. Here I come.
And back to Greg, everybody.
Here I am, telling funny stories. One-liners are only one way to communicate funny. Storytelling is far more complex. There's so many more techniques to get the laughs. First of all, you're dealing with situations. Okay, situations is and portraying characters. You're going to get in and portray characters. You're going to act out those people, and those characters can be jokes too. Those things, and your emotions can be jokes, and your attitudes and your intention and your actions. And there's so much more to telling a funny story. There's so many more tools you need to be good at. Doing act outs, doing the scenes, writing jokes for the scenes. And remember the 2 parts. Well, with one-liners, the comedian says it all, but in storytelling, one character, you can say the setup, and the character can say the punch. It spreads around. Who the character is can be a joke. The emotions you have for this, and then somebody else's emotions. The 2 parts jump around now. Okay, they're not just the comedian saying both parts. That's a one-liner. Comedian says part 1, part 2. Oh, setup and punch if you want, but setup and punch kind of become a problem language-wise when you start getting in the complexity of storytelling. Okay, you need to know where the mechanisms are and what's being used so you can set up the joke between a lot of different other elements of character, situation, line, and bit, or you know, a bit physical bit you're doing and stuff. So far more complex, and we'll teach you these things for the staging and everything else. Here's John Mulaney, good storyteller. And watch what he's doing. He's doing mime in it. He's got a shoulder bag for the woman. He's playing the characters. He acts people out. He does all. You watch. It's not him standing there just doing one-liners, but he's creating jokes from a lot of different areas. And so that's part of what that's training, is to show you those things and then have you do the exercises and learn how to do them in class. But watch him. Come on, start, John. Thank you.
I'm changing between subway trains, right? And it's 2 o'clock in the morning, okay? And you have to walk down this long corridor in order to change trains. 2 o'clock in the morning, it's just me and this woman. And she's walking a few yards ahead of me, and we're walking down, and she starts giving me like the over the shoulder, like that, you know, like looking. And then she starts to pick up the pace. She starts to walk a lot faster. So I think, oh, she must hear the train coming. You know, or she feels it in her feet like a Native American in a movie. So I start to sprint down the hallway at her, and she looks back and she's like, ah! And then she gives chase, so now we're like booking it down the corridor at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm gaining on her. I'm gaining on her, and we're getting to the end of the hallway, and she's going into that like dead end shuffle, you know, that women do when you chase them. And I'm almost there. I'm almost at her, and then it dawns on me. Oh, she's running from me. Because in her eyes, I'm an adult. And adults rape each other.
So you're very funny, a lot of great jokes in this thing. He uses a lot of different tools rather than like Stephen Wright, who stands there and delivers one-liners, or Mitch Hedberg, or whomever else your favorite one-liner comedian is, Rodney Dangerfield, etc. So there's just a lot more tools, and it's a lot more complex presentation. The joke structure is the same. Joke structure is joke structure. It's just how you present it is much more complex. So it requires having some training in this so you can clearly communicate those jokes to the audience in storytelling. So part of this also is filling in the jokes. People, again, one of the misnomers is, oh, you come in with a routine, you write. No, routines are developed over time. They're not just written. Oop, let me undo mine and put myself back in here. They're written. They're written and then they're developed over time. So, you know, there's dozens of spaces in a story that just want jokes, and we have dozens of techniques for adding jokes, filling jokes, filling bits, routine. Just start out with a story. The whole thing doesn't have to be hysterical. We fill in jokes. You want to make an observation and kind of take it a little bit further logically. Okay, we can fill in the jokes. Okay. So that's what we're trying to teach you, and we'll teach you how to do this as well. So for instance, this is a story about him on a subway, right? Late at night, a woman starts walking faster. So he thinks he hears the train and he starts running too. And then realizes, oh, she's running from me. That's the story. It started from just this little event. Okay. That's probably where he started. Oh, that's funny. I thought she was running for the train, but she was running from me. Oh, there's the story. That's the story. That's probably the original event that happened. Now, up here in the right-hand corner, we're going to drop in a little graphic from time to time that says added joke, where I believe he added jokes. Okay. You could start to see how he started from such a simple idea with the same routine, but notice when he's adding jokes.
I'm changing between subway trains, right? And it's 2 o'clock in the morning, okay? And you have to walk down this long corridor in order to change trains. 2 o'clock in the morning, it's just me and this woman. And she's walking a few yards ahead of me, and we're walking down, and she starts giving me like the over the shoulder, like that, you know, like looking. And then she starts to pick up the pace. She starts to walk a lot faster. So I think, oh, she must hear the train coming. You know, or she feels it in her feet like a Native American in a movie. So I start to sprint down the hallway at her, and she looks back and she's like, ah! And then she gives chase, so now we're like booking it down the corridor at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm gaining on her. I'm gaining on her, and we're getting to the end of the hallway, and she's going into that like dead end shuffle, you know, that women do when you chase them. And I'm almost there. I'm almost at her, and then it dawns on me. Oh, she's running from me. Because in her eyes, I'm an adult. And adults rape each other.
So you're going to start seeing most of the laughs in this thing have been added later. They were built, they were developed, they were, you know, he found these places to add a joke, to act her out, to do all those things. Those are not original part of the story. Okay, the original story is very simple. Yet now this is a very, very funny routine of storytelling and bits of act outs and things. Also, just to quickly show you that thing where he says, oh, she thinks I'm an adult. That is a joke on his character. He's so young. Look, he looks 12 and he's 35 or something, but he always does jokes on the fact that he looks young. So the first part is that he looks real young, and from that woman's point of view, right? From her point of view, he's an adult. And then he adds that they rape each other. Those are two jokes right there. One's just on his character. Again, much more complex, because it's story and it involves all these other things. So next is organizing jokes into routines. What if you get a whole bunch of jokes from a lot of different areas of stuff? I always say, know your BCAs. This is actually one of the techniques that we teach people and work with them on. Here is the technique itself. Okay, why didn't it come up? There it is. What you want to do is open with your B material, put your C material at the end, and close with your A material. This is one of the techniques. It's really important because you don't want to start with your A material because you can't follow yourself. Okay, you don't want to start with your C material because you won't get the audience. Okay, you start with your second best material to get them going, and then you do your weaker stuff, and then you close with your best stuff, because an audience remembers what you do at the end. So you can do an okay show, but you end of your show you kill, they'll remember that. Oh, it took them a moment to get going, but they killed. Oh, they were so great. That's what they remember. So that's what we teach people to do. And this is for a routine. It's also for an entire show. You put your B material, your B routines at the top, and you see stuff in the middle, and you close with your A routines. A show you develop that way as well. So very important. Those are the kind of techniques we're talking about. Next is managing your stage fright. Not getting rid of it. I never got rid of mine. You learn to manage it. You don't want to get rid of the butterflies. You just want them to fly in formation. You want them to become an asset that helps you get ready and mentally prepared and get your energy up for a show, rather than it stopping and holding you back, because it feels like fear. It could be just excitement in this whole thing. So it's learning how to manage that. And there are certain things that help learn and will teach you for managing. Actually, the whole system here is set up for helping you manage it. First is fear of the unknown. That's a big part of it. I don't know what it's like. I don't know what it's like to get in front of people. I don't know what's performing. I don't know. And so we set up the classroom for you to do repeated in-class performances. When you're supported, we'll help you. If you get stuck, we'll ask questions, keep you going. We just don't let you sit there and flounder. We don't throw you in the middle of the ocean as a way to learn how to swim. It's a process we're taking you through. We're teaching you how to swim and how to do a whole bunch of different strokes. basically is what we're going to be doing. And so now it's not unknown anymore. And the next big one is feeling unprepared. Okay. So many people feel unprepared, and that's where the fear is coming from. Okay. The point of this class to build a routine is yeah, we're going to teach you these fundamental things, and you're going to do those exercises, but then again, you're going to write the jokes, and we're going to help you rewrite the jokes, right? Then we're going to help you with your storytelling, and we'll help you stage it, put it together, work on the characters, all the other things, make sure it's nice and clear that it has joke structure for storytelling in it. Okay. And do you end up with this 1 minute routine? Not only do you end up with this routine and you're prepared with 5+ laughs per minute, you know how you got there. You know where your jokes are, so you take that pause. You know how you wrote them and got them there. You know the techniques that you implemented to get there. It's not just, oh, here's a routine. The teacher tells you what to do, and so and you end up with a couple of minute routine, and you don't know how you got there. You just, the teacher helped you and you've got a routine. Well, that kind of is good, but that doesn't help you in the long run. That's the difference between what that's in the teaching industry is called teacher dependent and teacher independent. If you can get people to understand and then transfer that information and use it elsewhere, or again by themselves, that's successful teaching. It's not just the result, it's the result, and you know how you got there, so you can do it again. So that's right. And if you're feeling you get past that unknown, a lot of that stuff, and you feel prepared, which is the whole 101 class is all about making you feel prepared, then it gives you the courage to get on stage more comfortably. Okay. I don't want you. I still want that nervousness. It's part of it's part of what makes the show so good, is that you go into this, there's no real word for it in English. If some people call it uptime, I've heard a lot of different words. Just kind of go into this extraordinarily focused state because, there's psychological danger. There's no physical danger in stand-up. It's all psychological. Oh, am I going to not, you laugh, you get a lot not like me. It's all these psychological things you have to overcome. That's what makes stand-up hard. It's not physically hard. Okay, it's psychologically, you got to push through a bunch of stuff and work on, and that's why we get you there quicker, because we're showing you the things that work. You don't have to figure them out. And then we're helping you feel prepared and unknown, so that when you get up on stage, you're feeling good about what you've got and what you're doing. And that just goes a long ways to managing stage fright. Again, getting rid of it isn't what we want to do. What we want to do is manage it and aim it and use it. Okay. Here's Alex DeStefano. He came in terrified. This guy did nothing. He'd never performed, didn't know what a joke was. He didn't know anything. He came in and said, I think I got some ideas in my head that I think are funny, and I'm scared. Well, listen to him. He'll tell you. Here we go.
I think I got a lot of good material in my head that I could write with, but I just got to get over a little bit of stage fright.
Yeah, Alex!
All right, thanks everybody for supporting virtual comedy. It's my first time doing this. This all feels like a dream to me, but I think that's because I ate the mushrooms before the show. I might start to see trails, so just forgive me. Be with me. I just went camping on a 6-week camping vacation, living in a tent for 6 weeks. I was homeless in Skid Row. Yeah, I had a mental health incident. I had to move back in with my parents. It's okay though, it's not a bad thing. My mom's a good cook. Problem is she cooks crystal meth. Yeah, my dad always said my ass was good for nothing. So I started smuggling heroin in my anus. Yeah, I just got my unemployment. Oh, fuck, I just fucked up. I think it's because I smoked too much weed. Just got a pay raise. Yeah, I got my unemployment check. I went to a gender reveal party. They called the cops on me because I was the only one to reveal my gender.
Yeah. So this is after doing the 101 class. Started out knowing nothing, scared and all. And you can see he's fairly confident. He makes a mistake. He deals with it, comes back, picks it up again. That's, you know, what we're talking about is that ability to do, to be there and be present. And notice he's holding for his laughs. A lot of people get so scared they talk through their laugh. He knows where his laughs are. He's crafted those jokes. Those aren't accidents. None of those jokes are accidents. Those are crafted jokes. Now, whether you like the jokes or not, that, you know, everybody has a different sense of humor. But if you look at it, see, each one of those is a joke. He's writing good, clear. And that last joke is a really great joke. I went to a gender reveal party and they called the cops on me because I was the only one that revealed my gender. Any comedian would be doing that joke if they thought of it right now on television, even, you know, Conan or any of the other shows. He wrote a couple of really great jokes and some other ones that were really quite good. So this is from nothing. This guy walked in and knew nothing and was scared and thought, oh, I got some ideas. He wanted to talk about his father and his homelessness and all the other things he did, drug dealing that he'd done. These are all true. These are all based on his life, by the way. He was homeless and then, you know, his mother didn't cook meth, but other than that, I think everything else really based on real jokes, real moments in his life where things happened and stuff. So, and he exaggerated them. Anyway, this is just after the 101 class, and this is fairly usual for people to do. So here we go. That's the next thing. Next thing is performing. Lastly, we're going to talk about performing with confidence. We talked about that. Oh, yeah, if you're unknown and you get past the, you know, the unknown and you feel prepared and stuff like that. Performing with confidence. And actually, I find that once you do stand-up comedy and make a group of strangers laugh, everything in the world is just less scary. You know, you go in for a job interview, it's like, this is nothing. This is just one person. You know what it's like to get up front of a group of strangers and make them laugh and know that you can do it consistently. It's, you know, it just changes things. It just changes things because you've faced some extraordinary fears that most people their whole lives will avoid. So here's the big secret about performing with confidence. It's earned. Confidence is that people think it's a gift. They'll say to me, oh, I'll perform when I get more confidence. That person's never going to perform because perform comes from doing. I mean, confidence comes from doing and getting good at something, right? That's what it's getting good at something. And again, there is no shortcut in the world, in the whole world of anything that's difficult and complex except technique. That's the only shortcut. To get good at technique. That's the sports, not just every sport, but every position usually has its own techniques. Dancing has its own techniques. Different kinds of dancing have their different techniques. Music, oh my goodness, the technique behind music is extraordinary amount. You can't really learn in a lifetime with all the different instruments and stuff, etc. So it's doing, and how do you earn it? First of all, complete the assignments, 10 minutes a day. Get your discipline, do your 10 minutes a day. Use the teacher's feedback. We give you and we explain the techniques behind it. We say, this is why you're doing this and get better at this. It's frustrating for us when we give somebody the perfect answers. Next week, the routine has all the same mistakes in it. So we give them the answers again. Next week, there's all the same mistakes in it. It's like, it becomes, hard for us as teachers to go, oh, we've given you the answers 2 or 3 times and you're not implementing any of it. If you do that, your show is going to get better because, again, I've invented nothing. I've invented a joke writing system. That's it. Everything else is, like I said before, I observe, turn them into exercises, and then you get the skills. I didn't invent those techniques. I recognize them. That's my job, is identify them and then teach them to you. So this isn't my rules. These are the rules of what great joke writers and great comedians do consistently. So prepare your in-class performances. Don't, people come in and they go, oh, I didn't really prepare and didn't work on it. So they've got a reason to fail. Oh, okay. Well, they gave themselves an out right away rather than, do your best. If you really want to learn this, we'll match your commitment. If you have little commitment, we help you there. And if you have a lot of commitment, we'll be right on with board with you. Attend the weekly office hours. We have 3 office hours a week. They're an hour long. There's 3 of them a week. Attend those. Get in there. You can ask anything you want. Ask about your jokes. Ask about the assignment. Ask about talk. Get your teachers and talk to them. Do our open mics. We do 3 a week. They're free. They're free open mics. They're ours. Kevin MCs them, and he's terrific. He makes them really fun and funny. And you don't even have to do a routine. Just get up and say, okay, I just wanted to talk in this open mic. That was my goal today. Thank you. It's okay. It's an open mic. There's no consequences. There's nothing important about them. And the last thing is this whole class is designed to help you build a routine with 5+ laughs per minute. That again, that preparation, having that level of expert. By the way, 5+ laughs per minute, that's a professional level. Even as a beginner, we can get you there. Okay, because the techniques, because we work collaboratively, et cetera, because we understand the process of generating material and helping you form it into a routine and teaching it to you, so you end up with that routine at the end. Yeah, it's a minute long, but if you can do 1 solid minute, then you can do 2, 3, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, because it's the same process. We're going to teach you this class is designed to teach you those skills, principles, techniques, etc., and practice them with you as you build a short routine so that you can use them again for building more and more and more material. That's the whole thing. So with all that said, I am now going to turn you back over to the illustrious Gayla Johnson.
And here I am. Thank you. This class comes with a lot of good stuff, all those techniques, all this training, all the specifics, as well as what you see in front of you here. We give you free PDF handouts. We give you little assignments from week to week just to kind of teach and review the skills we're teaching. You'll do some work at home, just some light little assignments weekly. And so we give you the PDFs that go with that. We give you Zoom support and training, makeup or review classes on video because you might miss a class or you might just want to review the class you just took. So we give you like 7 days to check that out. We have weekly office hours where we're on Zoom for an hour each week just to help students with assignments or any other questions you have regarding your comedy journey. We have the direct messaging to teachers and students. We use a separate social networking platform for that, and we'll explain that to you. We have membership in our global stand-up community that's on that separate platform where we also post jobs and bookings, how to get booked. We have students that are running comedy shows. We give tips on other seminars. We show you other seminars we teach, and we give a lot of feedback on the work you're working on. We have free weekly open mics. There's a lot of open mics out there. Some charge $5. We have free ones and we run them every week, and you can be a part of that as well. So we are starting next week, June 30th. You can join us. The classes are weekly on Wednesdays, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. That's the local time, the Pacific Standard Time where we are in California. 5 weeks total. We have limited to 15 seats, so we have only 7 seats left. We need to double check that. Might be less than that, but people are signing up, so we'd love to get you started next week. Also, the link has been in chat all this time for those of you who need to know where to find that. We'll post it again. Tonight, we have a discount for you. You participated in this free seminar. We kind of want to reward you with a little discount. 50 Greg off would be your code. You can pay in full for $3.99. The $50 discount code is 50 Greg off. That makes the class only $349. Or if it's better for you to do a payment plan, you would be paying the full rate of $399 at 99.75 cents a week for 4 weeks. That $399 rate has been our rate even before COVID. That's just the standard rate of the class. We'd love to have you either way, payment plan or full payment, whatever's easiest for you. So stick around after this. Greg's going to answer some questions that came across in Slack. You can always click on the payment link and sign up for the class. We'll be here. If you have anything specific you want to talk about regarding this class or registering, my name is Gayla. I can chat with you in a separate room, breakout room, and we can talk about your situation that you want to share. I do that all the time. Sometimes people want to kind of talk to their situations, and we can discuss how to make this class possible for you, or, you know, when's a good time for you to take a class like this. Thanks. Let's bring Greg Dean back to the stage.
Woohoo! Wow, boy, people cleared out there. So, I guess, Ava, you got a question?
Yeah, two people left.
Yeah, well, you go, oh, we want, you know, oh, the class actually costs money, and then they run. So we're not hard sell. We're just saying, you know, go click on the link if you want to. So, but you know, there you go. Nobody, you know, they're afraid we're going to confront them or something. We don't do that. You know, people want the class, so they don't. So, what were there any questions in chat, Kev?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. There were just a couple things in chat. Let's say the first thing, we had a question from it was from Frozen Gamer on YouTube, and he asked, or she asked, how do you structure comedy? It's a very open-ended question.
Wow. Well, that's what you pay the class for. I'm not going to teach it to you like this and stuff. But again, I started with the thing is that there's a lot to that. That's not a simple answer to that. Again, first of all, there's two parts, and the mechanisms connect those two parts. That's the first thing you have to understand how to do, how to connect the first part and the second part, because that's what makes a joke a joke. Okay. Secondly, there's just so many guidelines for rewriting, because you need to write jokes and present jokes in ways that the human mind can process jokes quickly. They can go through those 25 steps that they need to go through in their mind to hear and then get the joke, and get all of the extraneous information out of there, so that processing can happen instantaneously. And again, that's what the class is for, because I can't say that in a short period of time, and I can't teach that in a short period of time. And that's why we have a 5-week class. So, anything else, Kev?
Same person, Frozen Gamer, just asked how to improve low self-esteem.
See a therapist. All right, so we're not therapists. So, I'm a sufferer. I'm on the same journey. You know, you may think that a lot about me, but you know, I had alcoholic parents and kind of browbeat me and stuff like that. So learning develops, find something you're really good at, and and then find other things you're good at, and get around people that are supportive. That's the best thing you can do. That's what I did. I like to hang out with people that are smarter than me. I'm fairly bright, but I hang out with people that are geniuses. I mean, literally, Mensa people. I'm the stupidest one there. Maybe that doesn't help my self-esteem, but it sure does. It really encourages me to continue to grow and get smart and learn things, because that's kind of my journey, is that. So your self-esteem, again, confidence and self-esteem are very much tied. And the more you do something and get good at it and know you can handle it, the self-esteem and the confidence comes from doing. It doesn't come from waiting.
Can I ask a question?
Please.
Yeah. I was just wondering, because I saw like 5 jokes a minute. And I was just wondering, like, if you would do like a larger routine, you would probably also have a story which you act out, which it maybe doesn't contain so many jokes, or is it kind of general? Because if I see like Trevor Noah, he can also talk for like minutes without making an actual joke, but to start off, it's good to have, to to have like this many
A
jokes.
little bit at the top for a longer story. Sometimes they take longer to explain the whole situation because it's a whole situation or a dilemma that they've got to set up. But once they get past that part, then you start looking at his premise and the other things that he's setting up. And then after that, he's working at 5+ laughs per minute. Once he gets into it, then he's bang, 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 bang. And that's what we're doing. Me personally, some of his bits, I would actually want him to shorten his opening. Same thing with my student, Anthony Jeselnik. There's the shaking the baby routine. I don't think he needs quite as much setup. Some of Patton Oswalt, but you see, that's my preference. Then again, but you see, when you sit down and go, okay, now I'm actually doing the real funny part. 5+ laughs per minute. You watch it. Once Patton Oswalt sets it up, he's, it's almost continuous laughter for minutes. Right. And he knows where every one of those laugh points are, by the way. If you watch him, he's pausing for them. And there's a whole different sense of timing for when you're writing a lot of tags. There's different ways of kind of with tags, you keep bumping that laugh up. So you have to know when to come in to bump it and when to come in to bump that laugh, not let it drop down. So again, now there's a bunch of performing skills inside of telling that story that you're not aware of, and that I've taught many comedians in storytelling of how to get into that rhythm of the storytelling and bump those laughs up like the people you're talking about do. Okay. It's a very sophisticated, but it can be taught. And then once you're taught, then you practice it, because again, everything's a skill you can practice and stuff. Gayla, you had something.
Oh, I just wanted to clarify, Eva, you were saying Trevor Noah as the host on The Daily Show?
No, just as his stand-up shows.
Okay.
Stand-up, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, but I can imagine if you have like a 5-minute routine, then you would want to have lots of laughs. You can't build up, so you start
And
immediately.
when you have, you're right, when you have 45 minutes or an hour, there's a different pace to the whole show.
Yeah.
Okay, but when you're first beginning, it's best, it's a Bill Hicks. I knew Bill, his work and stuff. He was like, learn how to kill first. First thing you do is learn how to pack a lot of jokes in a show, and then once you can do that, then you start looking for your voice and your message and the things that you want to do. I mean, he used to talk with him at the Westwood Comedy Store, and he's like, he was crushing at that time. He's going, I'm funny, but he was like, there's something else. I don't know what it is. I don't feel like I'm like really making it work yet and stuff. So he went back to Houston, and then that's where he really carved out that comic voice of his of kind of reversing. He was against hypocrisy and mediocrity, and then took American values and flipped them upside down. Guns bad, sex good. Like he said, nobody ever died fucking in a porno. Right? People die all the time from guns, but we got it wrong. He was like, that was, and I think that's one of the reasons I think he was much more popular in Europe than he was in America, because
he was popular here, still.
Still, because he was like, no, guns, man, that's violent, that's bad. Still, wars, those are, it's like, sex, good, fine, okay, nobody dies from that. And I don't know why are Americans so anti-sex and so pro-guns. And with that message, he was really making a comment on America in a lot of ways. And a lot of Americans like myself love that, because I happen to agree. Well, but it's much more that mental state, that message was much more of a European. They went along and said, yeah, that's right. So it was, the values, he matched more of the values, I thought, of Europe than America, because, like, look where we're at right now. What is there, 300 mass shootings already in America? And I mean, this year, and it's like these people going, yeah, we got a right to guns. It's like, oh man, yeah, I want a tank. All right, whatever. It's America. Everybody should have a tank on their front lawn. You only anyway. Kayla.
Hey, Greg, we got a message that someone really appreciated the presentation there. They learned a lot. We got a couple more signups that people signed up starting next week. It looks like we have a couple seats left. We need to probably wrap this up and get you going, because we got to start getting the paperwork together for this class starting next week. If anyone has any final questions for Greg,
anybody else, I guess, Driss and Murphy and, well, Steve. Steve doesn't count anyway, because we don't like Steve. Yeah. You've been so silent, Steve. I need to give you a prod there once in a while. Okay.
Fly on the wall.
Yeah. So right. Stay off my food. Get out of here.
yeah, we can answer the final questions.
Anyway, I'm going to take off, everybody. I've got to teach a in live class in a little while, so in real life class as well. So.
Well, thanks for coming. But I'll be here for a second to answer more questions.
Anything else? Ask Kev. Ask Gayla. They're certified in my system. They know nearly as much as I do. So thank you all. Hope to see you in the classes themselves and or later in life sometime.
Thanks, Greg.
Thanks.
You're the best. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I've been using this. Kevin, your sound effect is much better. I think we had John Clark ask about what do we mean by a tag? A tag is another joke without a setup because it comes from the punchline you just did. So you use that punchline as the setup, and then you tag and have another punchline from the same idea of the setup. So yeah, I mean, we have a lot of questions like that come in, and a lot of it's available in the class. We explain a lot of good details and stuff. So Kevin, you have that sign up in there. Thanks again for that. Wow, there's a host that post that
I put the Greg D meetings by accident. That wasn't for this.
Yeah, that was that was weird. Okay, well, we can post the link.
Yeah.
So Eva, are you interested? And Driss, we saw you. Are you sitting right there? I know you're a gentleman with glasses. We saw you earlier, but look, if you guys want to jump in on this class or want to share your situation with me and we can see how to make this work, we'd love to put you in or find out how we can help you.
Yes, for me, it's not in my financial situation, so maybe a later moment.
Okay, cool. Keep going back to the website. I think the calendar might be there, or there's a calendar available somewhere on the website that can help you with your situation. I mean, that's why we have the payment plan. We have a payment in full and stuff like that. The community offers a lot of opportunities for you if you find a way to us, because we're here for you, most definitely. Are you out doing shows or performing, Eva?
No, I'm just starting. I only wrote a lot of jokes, and I did some courses in the Netherlands.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, but then it was just performing for the group, not for like it was people who also participated in the workshop, so it's less scary than for an audience.
Oh, I see. Well, in this first class, you're not doing a live show. No. So the scariness is just in class where you got your classmates that go on this journey with you. So for the 5 weeks, you're getting to know people in this class for 5 weeks in a row. And then the final, 5th class, everybody is still in the class and everyone does something, but you perform every week in this class. You get really comfortable performing in front of your classmates only.
Yeah, no, it sounds really great. It sounds really inspiring. So I will definitely keep an eye on.
Keep an eye. We're on for you.
We're on 6-week cycles. So the new set of classes starts every 6 weeks. Starting next week is our new classes for this term.
Yeah, we have people signing up for that next time already. They're putting in a payment for it because sometimes financially it gets difficult. So we set up a payment arrangement that they can just make regular $50 a week or whatever to get there, so that by the time it starts, it's open. I don't know what your situation is, but we've worked with a lot of situations. So if you really wanted to do this, we can talk about it. If not, we'll see you when you're ready.
Yes, I will show up when I'm ready.
All righty. Driss, you have a question for us? Otherwise, we are good to go on this. All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming. We really appreciate you. And we'll see you next time. Stay in touch and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and all the other accounts. And then you'll get word or information about when we're doing this next time.
Yes.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
You bet.